struggle to fall asleep because they are too worried about everything happening around them. The 2020 Emmys are seeing record low ratings numbers. Nielsen numbers show the awards show dropped 25% from last year. Total viewers hitting a new record low. For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
Parts provides more than just the right parts for your repair. Our professional parts people can also offer a free check-engine diagnosis. We can scan your vehicle and provide a list of possible fixes. Find the right parts for you or recommend a great local repair shop. Don't ignore your check engine light and stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Welcome back. It's another Wednesday, and this is Spoken Truth to Power. I'm your host, Trainor. Are you all right? Are you all right?
It's all the smoke here in Reno.
Oh, okay.
There isn't any in Tahoe today.
Really? Okay.
Oh,
well,
it's
you're
just
much higher up.
Well, it's the direction of the wind. It was out of the southwest, so it's just pushed it all into Washoe. And last week, of course, it was Burning Man.
Right.
Everybody was coming back from Burning Man, and the roads were awash with all this ash.
Mm-hmm.
So when are we going to get clean again?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Or maybe we should be asking that
maybe
question about the FBI.
Yeah, maybe we should get Kamala to get to work on it.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
I think he's got something back there.
Yeah. And so we also have Brian working on the boards today.
He's very active.
Yes.
He's right on top of things back there.
All right. So right after the Dark Brandon speech,
right,
evoking Comrade Adam Sutler from V for Vendetta, that's what the left sees it as.
Right.
They V for Vendetta is their revolutionary Antifa film.
Sure.
You know? And Sutler said in that movie, "I want the country to realize that we stand on the edge of oblivion. I want every man, woman, and child to understand how close we are to chaos, to remember why they need us."
And you know why that's so accurately stated?
Uh-huh.
Is because the FBI is now going after pillows.
Yes, they're going after.
It's so important. We're on the threshold of fascism that they're going after
pillows, sheets.
We choose truth over facts.
And doesn't he have coffee now? So maybe he doesn't want us drinking coffee anymore either.
Yeah, it's hard to tell with poor Mike Lindell. You know, he just, he was all behind the electoral machines are being hacked thing. I think that's why they came after him.
Yeah. But remember that they always accuse us of doing what they themselves are actually
doing. Exactly.
So, and that is what they're doing. He's got an executive order going. That is, Brandon has an executive order out there, 14019, I think, that's going to take taxpayer money and push it into districts that can shape the election on November 8th.
I thought they were fortifying elections.
No, they're shaping it.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people make that mistake.
This is about the future of the liberal world order.
It's what it is.
That's what it is. And so the French lady, Karine, she was caught justifying her tweets about the Republican, especially Trump, about Trump stealing the election. And while at the same time ignoring that, while at the same time accusing Republicans of stealing the 2020 election and of course the riot on January 6th, may it always be remembered in Democrat lore, you know.
And of course that was just an orchestrated FBI entrapment episode from start to finish. They had 2 weeks to figure it out.
Yep.
They had 2 whole weeks because Trump was going to make that decertification claim the morning of the 6th of January.
Yep.
They knew that he was going to speak somewhere, and they had every opportunity to set up and orchestrate that riot. And that's what they did. They had them in plain clothes on the outside. You folks go this way, you folks go that way, and they even opened the doors for them.
In some cases, yes. Yeah. And they're still the January 6th protesters, some of them in solitary confinement, some of them not getting needed medical attention. They're still there 18 months.
No such thing as habeas corpus in this America.
Or a speedy trial.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No.
Some of them even died in there, haven't they? I think there have been a couple of deaths. While they,
I think so.
While they await the
I know there was a suicide, right?
That's right. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
They should all be out on bail,
bail,
awaiting their opportunity to speak.
Yeah, I mean, these are all misdemeanors.
Yeah, trespassers.
Right. And the poor QAnon shaman, what did he get? 4 years?
Well, he was lucky compared to the GI woman.
Yeah.
Can't think of her name offhand, but yeah.
Ashley Babbitt was killed.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can't. Anything is luckier than what happened
to her. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like we played White Riot, the song, or the intro to the song, because that's what it was. It was pent up frustration after all the BLM riots that we had. It was pent up frustration. It was stoked by the idea that they could do something about the election here, and that's still up in the air. We don't know whether that was constitutionally feasible or not. It won't be tested now. In other words, for the vice president to say that there's a problem with certification of the votes and refuse to certify certain states' votes.
Right.
All they were going to do is go into a committee.
That's right.
And try to resolve it in committee.
Right. See how many disputes there were and how much of it was legitimate, how much of it was not. There wasn't anything really about that should have been
certainly not an insurrection.
No, it certainly was not.
Nope.
Yeah, so.
Well, Biden has the scent of sedition about him. And I think everybody's picked up on it. They're going to have a tough time in this election if we get to an election. I'm still not convinced we're going to get
we're going to get to it next. I mean, this November?
It's now or never for them. And every single day, they're going after pillows. I mean, there's nothing they won't go after. They're coming after us. That's what they're telling us.
Yeah.
You think Mike Lindell is exempt?
Fine Egyptian cotton pillows.
Right. That's right. It's Christian cotton they're using in those pillows, aren't they?
Yes.
Say what?
He really knows how to sell a pillow. I'll give him that.
Yes, I get his emails, his texts all the time.
Well, we're 55 days from this election, and you can feel it, can't you?
I can feel it.
Yeah, it's intense.
The air is becoming thick with trepidation.
This is America Matters brought to you and click on the podcast button. Now back to the show.
Welcome back to the second segment here on Talking Truth to Power. Do you know that there's been quite a few microaggressions during the past week? Yes.
In the social justice system, words are considered violence. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious attacks are members of an elite squad known as the Microaggression Victims Unit. These are their stories.
It's a unit.
It's a unit or eunuch. I couldn't understand. An Irish professor was jailed for refusing to address the proper pronouns. Misgendering is a terrible, terrible crime.
Yeah.
Yes. Enoch Burke, an evangelical Christian, was given an indefinite prison sentence, in other words, contempt of court, by the Irish judge Michael Quinn, the Mighty Quinn, for refusing to use the proper pronoun for a trans student. Then we had another pretend Indian outed this week.
Pretend Indian?
Pretend Indian, yes. A Canadian University, Emily Carr University professor, an indigenous artist, in quotes.
Does Elizabeth Warren know this?
Gina Adams, who claimed her Anishinabeg ancestors appeared to her in dreams. In fact, her mother is a white beauty pageant queen, and there is no evidence of Native American ancestry in her family.
You know the thing.
Well, it worked for Elizabeth Warren,
Yeah.
so
It works for a lot of people. Why are IPOCs? You know what that is?
no.
Indigenous people of color.
Oh, that's
IPOC.
right. Yeah, we've talked about that on.
Why are IPOCs considered oppressed when so many whites want to be one?
Yeah.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
That is so profound.
The New York Times, you remember the stabbing Sanderson brothers and another Canadian Native American or First Nation, I think they call them.
I think that was it. Yeah.
First Nation story.
Yeah.
They went on a stabbing spree on an Indian reservation, but the New York Times refused to state their ethnicity, leaving the impression they could be those evil white men.
Evil white people.
Yeah.
Fascists.
Breaking the treaty.
Yeah, right. Trump supporters.
Here's one. Country singer Jason Aldean was dropped by his longtime PR firm after his wife Brittany, in an interview, criticized early interventions on gender transitioning for young children.
A trans girl is a girl.
She also stated she was glad she didn't have a mother, but I put in liberal mother, who would have pushed transitioning when she was in her tomboy stage.
Oh, hell no.
Yep, good point.
Yeah. Now this one, the woke Disney film Little Mermaid has up to 2 million dislikes. I don't know about that one. I mean, a fish is a fish. I mean, it doesn't matter what color. The Little Mermaid was very...
Wait a minute, you say a fish is a fish?
A fish is a fish. I mean, it doesn't matter what race the fish is, but the Little Mermaid is a very white-looking young black lady, very aquiline nose,
Okay.
Symmetric figures. So I don't know about that. But then again, I'm not likely to look at the movie to confirm it.
You're not?
No. But the Amazon Fire woke Lord of the Rings, called The Rings of Power, that is bombing badly. The House of the Dragon stars Steve Toussaint. Boy, those French people get a lot of good gigs, don't they? Steve Toussaint keeps saying the purists were saying things about casting him in the show. They have no trouble believing in a dragon, but they have trouble believing a black person could be a member of the court, or a black person could be a hobbit or an elf.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him.
Well, the 52-week range for Disney, if you're a Disney shareholder.
Yeah.
The high was 185.90, and it's at 90.23 now.
Oh.
So
get woke, go broke.
Yeah. Get excited about that if you want.
Meanwhile, in Sweden actually got based.
Yeah.
They did. Yeah. They swallowed the red pill.
It's like a fascist movement there in Sweden.
Yeah. The right coalition, led by a new party called the Swedish Democrats, defeated the old left Social Democrats by one vote.
Wow.
175 to 174.
We'll take it.
Yep. Immigration was the main issue, just like it is in Denmark at this time.
Right.
And
it does portend a trend in the entire pan-European experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the days are numbered. The European zone is numbered, I think.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time before everybody wants out of there.
Right. Too much. The ousted minister Magdalena Anderson tried to move to the right before the election by saying too much migration and too weak integration has led to parallel societies where criminal gangs have been able to grow and gain a foothold. You could say that.
Well, I'm sure that's what's happening there. Yeah.
Crime and refusal to assimilate were the main issues.
I think that assimilation issue is important no matter where we talk about
it. Well, we're going to talk about that, but
it's critical.
Swedish women wear armbands saying, "Don't rape me." And a cabinet minister's daughter was raped and murdered, and he refused to press charges.
Yeah, we talked about this before the show. I think it should say, "Please don't rape me."
Say what?
See, that'll work a whole lot.
That'll. Oh yeah, you have to be polite.
Yeah.
Nope.
Now, a few months ago, I uploaded a video to Talking Truth to Power Facebook group. The president of the largest pro-immigrant NGO in Sweden, who happens to be Jewish, she proclaimed how important European Jews and Jewish immigration pressure groups were to bringing in more Muslim immigrants.
Mm-hmm.
See, Middle Eastern culture, you were saying assimilate.
Right.
Middle Eastern culture is inimical to European culture.
Sure. Mm-hmm. That's why they're where they are.
Yeah. European culture is, or at least was, much more individualistic than tribal and clan-based Middle Eastern cultures, both Islamic and Jewish. I'm the only one that will say it's not only Islam, but it's also the Middle Eastern culture of Judaism that doesn't integrate well. The same organized Jewish groups who promote mass migration that is incompatible with European culture are the same ones who argue for the existence of the Jewish ethnocentric state in Israel, the most genetically policed state in the world. And that's Talmudic situational ethics again.
It rears its ugly head.
Right. So, yeah, Europe, in Switzerland, they have said that they will arrest people that turn their thermostats up too high this winter. I'm going to say, et tu, Switzerland? You know?
Well, we're laughing about it, but you know who's laughing mostly about it?
The Russians.
Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, I mean, the Russians are going to be comfortable and warm. Their shells are well stocked.
Do you know
it's
the
Russian
Gazprom
playbook? This is right out of the Russian playbook.
Russia's Gazprom has doubled oil and gas revenue this year, despite the drop in volume. I think it's dropped by half or something.
It's really paying for the war.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's paying for itself.
Yeah, so. Ursula von der Leyen said
that's the kind of war you want. Yeah. One that pays for itself.
Ursula von der Leyen has said that she will restrict gas imports to 9%. Yeah, that's they're having problems. All they had to do is come to Putin, hat in hand, and say, "Please, will you open Nord Stream 2? We're ready for it."
Well, there was an opportunity to address all of this in April.
Yeah.
And apparently the European community and the United States of America decided, no, we want to benefit the military-industrial complex for a while.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that went out the door.
Right. Yeah, there was supposedly a treaty that was at least worth discussing.
No, I think you said it right the first time.
And it wasn't Russia that turned it down. They sent it to Moscow, but it was Boris Johnson was the messenger. He came to Kiev. All the cool guys were going to Kiev.
Yeah, all of them were going over there, yeah.
And he told Zelensky, no, don't do it. And of course, if he told them, then Washington told him to tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I know it's, we mean by Talmudic situational ethics, well, the Talmud teaches that Jews should be quiet and submissive and don't rock the boat when they're in a country where they are outnumbered by Gentiles. But when they're in their own country, then the gloves are off and they can treat Gentiles, the way they want to. So people don't read the Talmud, but then again, Christians don't read the Bible.
Yeah.
Or they'd be amazed at what they found.
Yeah. I think it's probably a good thing in both cases.
Yes. All right. So when we come back, we're going to have some more world events, I think, unless you have something you'd rather talk about, Lee.
Well, I'm hoping we can get to what's happening in the markets because
oh yeah, they're roiling, all right.
Pretty amazing, and I look pretty good from my calls over the past several months.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Because the Fed has only one tool, and that's
you got a direct line to Nancy Pelosi.
Is that the applause line? Did you see that display yesterday on the White House lawn? Oh my God, it was embarrassing.
Oh yeah,
I laughed all the way through it. It was hysterically funny.
The inflation party.
Yeah. The legislation that's supposed to end inflation. It's a spectacle, and everybody can see it for itself. Did you see that the New Hampshire primaries? We're now done with the primaries. We're in good shape so far. This looks really good if we have an election.
Right.
We're in recession, and it will get very, very intense going forward. We've never been in a situation where we had $30 trillion in debt and inflate at the same time. So while the Fed has to react and will react at least by 75 basis points, that really won't take care of anything except the inflationary part of our problem, because that will also choke off the economy.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, small businesses have already stopped hiring. You see labor shortages everywhere already in the system. So you may not be experiencing it directly, but indirectly, no matter what you do with commerce, know, whether you're traveling or staying at home, you're going to see the effect. It's inevitable.
Right.
Today, the business of our work is for the council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward.
You got that?
Yeah, I got it.
See, so that's...
Yeah. That's your government at work.
And you don't want these people anywhere close to the seats of power. Whether it's in the area of commerce or finance or government. I mean, these people owe their professions or their success by failure, because nothing succeeds like failure in these areas.
Well,
did you see what happened to Stelter?
He's with God, I can't remember now.
They've sent him to.
He's a Harvard, isn't he?
I think the other one went to Harvard. This guy's going to, he's going to a very prestigious institution. I forget which one. When I hear Stelter, I just kind of tune out. But yes, he's going to be retiring apparently on a very nice college campus somewhere. Sounds like.
Yes.
I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything. I don't have anything.
And who else would you want to teach your children than Brian Stelter?
About the media.
He knows
about
all
truth.
this stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, and on the war situation, you want to start talking a little bit about foreign policy?
Yeah, it was a good idea actually. We should talk about the Ukraine.
Well, first of all, we got to talk about how the jackals are starting to gather around the corpse, looking for bones to pick, as the Azerbaijan, which is a Sunni Muslim country, is once again attacking Armenia, which is a Christian country.
Right.
And the reason why is that Armenia is not a very rich country, but it happens to be strategically located in the Caucasus Mountains, which are always a part of Russia, a concern of Russia, and they're very close to Russia there. and they're also very close to Iran. So Azerbaijan is being armed and funded at this time, apparently by Israel. They've been getting a lot of military equipment from Israel, and the Mossad is apparently all over the place there. So for Armenia to start up, for Azerbaijan to start up trouble by attacking Armenia, that's to simultaneously threaten Russia because they're bogged down in Ukraine, and they're also now starting an offensive against the Idlib area, the jihadis who, surrendered in other parts of the country, but were allowed to go to Idlib. So
You
now,
uncircumcised Philistine! Uncircumcised Philistine!
Philistine.
yes.
Well, Ron Paul has said that Europe has committed suicide by these sanctions.
I don't see any
And
way
I-
out of
I
it
don't-
unless they give
yeah.
up, unless they grow up, get off the puberty blockers,
Yeah,
and
right.
become real
And
countries.
and real
Yeah.
leaders. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
This could spiral out of control very, very quickly in that region that we're discussing right now.
Anything at any time.
Yeah, and they could use such an event prior to November 8th. Am I
to
right,
cancel-
people?
You will eat the bugs, and
Yeah.
you will like it. Yeah, that's that could be the type of false flag or real flag that they would use to suspend elections.
They are preparing for
Uh,
any eventuality here because they've only got 55 days to do it. It's now or never for them.
Right.
So while it looks great for us in terms of the primary results so far, and we're past that now, we're literally in the general election modality at the moment. They've got John Brennan at the helm.
They do.
Yeah.
Oh, who is? I thought he was a TV.
Yeah, but he's moonlighting.
Oh, okay.
That's who's calling the shots for the Obama administration.
For the former Obama administration people. Yeah, they are calling the shots.
Everything's coming across his desk, and they're preparing for any eventuality. So while it looks good, those people have got aces up their sleeves.
Well, there's been a bit of good news.
Has there?
Yeah, a little inkling of good news in the dumpster fire, but China and India have withdrawn forces along their border hotspots. The Prime Minister of India, Modi, refuses to sanction Russia despite continuous U.S. pressure, and he's
getting oil at discounted rates.
Yeah, discounted rates, exactly. And then they're turning around and refining the oil and selling it to Europe.
Yeah.
At a higher rate.
Nice deal, isn't it?
So is China, by the way. They're
Yeah.
going all the way around the African Cape of Horn, I think it's called, and all the way up to Europe. So that's going to add a lot to their expenses. But we were going to do the same thing. I love it when Sean Hannity says we have to be dominant in oil so we can help our European allies by sending them overpriced liquid natural gas.
We choose truth over facts.
Yeah, war is just a racket.
It is a racket.
Yep.
Comprehensive one.
A comprehensive global racket. So what happened in Ukraine?
Yeah.
This week. Over the last weekend, Ukraine received $3 billion more from Blinken, who arrived in Kiev. And they had a counterattack, first in Kherson, that was 2 weeks ago, the southern front, which collapsed with heavy losses. But you see, we're going to get into it. The way Ukraine is fighting this war is it can sustain those losses while hoping to delay Russia while it gathers more weapons and trains more troops coming in from the West. And so a Ukrainian soldier was actually quoted in the Washington Post talking about taking 5-1 casualties compared to the Russians, how the Russian tanks emerged from behind their concrete bunkers and rained fire before Ukraine could respond. So it was a bad defeat down in the southern front. But in the northern front, around the second largest city in Ukraine, Kharkov, where Russia had already begun an orderly withdrawal of its troops because it isn't that important to them at this point. So this is the one that is north of Luhansk and extended westward into close to Kiev, but not close to Kharkov, but not right up to Kharkov. And this area is considered to have largely Russian-leaning populace. So the armed forces of Ukraine seized on the Russian withdrawal and hit the front hard with, I see estimates ranging from 10 to 30,000 troops, including foreign legionnaire commandos. Remember at the early part of the war, we were talking about all the Reddit warriors from America and Europe that were going on Reddit and thinking this would be a piece of cake. And then they got over there and turned on their cell phones and the Russians figured out where they were and blew them up.
They pinged.
Yeah. Now, now they're better trained. In fact, this whole offensive in Kharkov shows that it's actually now a NATO war more than ever.
To me, it looks like a tactical retreat for a much wider war.
For Russia?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a tactical retreat. And the spectacular instant gains that they got in Kharkov, that Ukraine got, which has made all the headlines.
Yep.
You know, George Stepan, all of us was saying, this could be a turning point in the war.
Kissinger said the same thing
Yeah.
in advance of it.
Yeah.
So they knew this was up their sleeve.
They really only got 2% of the territory that the Russians had already built up. So they got they bit off the tip of the western, northwestern area. That
We're changing people's lives.
Yeah. Now technically they could threaten Russian supply lines that come down from Belgorod in Russia down into the Donbass, but the Russians have pretty much redrawn the lines, and it remains to see whether they can actually do that. But Lloyd Austin, he agreed that there was a victory, and it was a victory. Let's not take anything back away from them. It was a victory, a tactical victory, but we're going to see in the next couple of weeks how lasting the victory is. But it does show that they're gathering some elite forces.
Well, you know what the Kremlin is describing this chapter as?
Yes.
A prologue to a third world war.
Well, we should give the mandatory anti-defamation
disclaimer.
Sure. We know that Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East.
Not Lebanon.
And Lebanon doesn't count. And they're our greatest ally in the Middle East, and they don't throw gay people on the roofs. And each and every time we observe Jewish people behaving badly, we must always remember it's always our fault. So we're going to talk a little bit. This is imagery from the Young Freud archive on the Young Review. The Chinese are shrewd businessmen. They're excellent networkers. Professor Thomas Sowell, who writes extensively on immigration and culture, concludes that the Chinese diaspora is so well connected they usually do better in terms of income and status than the best of the native populations wherein they live.
Aren't they described as the Jews of Asia?
Yeah, that's what I said. That
I'm not sure.
maybe I misspoke. They are called the Jews of Asia. Now, Kamala Harris, you remember her disastrous trip where in Singapore and Hanoi, she publicly bashed the Chinese. Well, these two countries were humiliated and basically called on China to say, we know that the Chinese are some of our most important citizens.
She used the word our.
Our, yes. But indeed, so are the Jews, who, despite their high disparity in world population, 25 million Jews compared to 1.2 billion Chinese, are probably even more successful in their diaspora and always earn above average incomes over the native population.
Hardworking people.
Yeah. But also ethnically and network connected. A strong horse is the ancient Chinese symbol of strength and prosperity. Both the Chinese and the Jews, through a combination of wealth, ethnic networking, and above-average intelligence, have a strong horse. They both manifest enormous economic clout and political influence wherever they go. However, the Chinese are never portrayed in the West as sympathetically as the Jewish tribes.
You must do every day. Continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust.
He meant the
That's
whore.
because the Jews have something the Chinese don't have. They have a very strong sacred cow.
Oh, I see.
The sacred cow is made up of the legendary ordeals of the Jewish people, who are God's chosen people, culminating after centuries of persecution and the Holocaust. Originally, the original sacrifice of the bull, in Hebrew called the Shoah, and the Holocaust shows us that by the purifying gases of World War II, the Jews were cleansed of any taint of responsibility for anything they ever did to Germany or the West.
Is that how it happens?
Yes.
So they were cleansed.
Yes.
I see.
So after the Shoah, the Jews finally obtained eternal reward from a generous, ashamed world to their promised land, Eretz Israel. No one asked the inhabitants of this area how they felt about taking of their land and giving it to the chosen ones, who they, in fact, did not genocide.
You must do every day. Continue to bear witness. To keep alive the truth and honor of the Holocaust.
The honor of the Holocaust.
Now, so the Chinese are equal to the Jews because they both have a strong horse.
Nope.
But the Jews have a very, very powerful sacred cow, and they zealously promote and protect it. It's partly the Chinese fault, as they have spent most of their time complaining about suffering under the Japanese in World War II. The Japanese did slaughter hundreds of thousands of Nanking and other places. They forced Chinese women to be their sex slaves. They denigrated Chinese culture. But if you look at Chinese movies, at the very end, Chinese kung fu always triumphs over
wins out,
Japanese karate.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Only recently have the Chinese started complaining about the 100 years of humiliation by the West, which frankly coincides with the 100th year anniversary of the Chinese Communist Party and the rise of Xi Jinping. The Opium Wars, did you know the Opium Wars, coincidentally, were organized and financed by the Jewish Sassoon family? The Boxer Rebellion, the theft of Hong Kong, the civil war between Mao and Chiang Kai-shek.
They're big on commerce, those people.
Yeah, the Taiwan issue. They may have inflicted pain and humiliation on Chinese, but the Western world does not feel their pain.
No.
The inscrutable yellow peril is not a sympathetic figure. These horrors that the Chinese suffered are not nearly as compelling to the West as the sad tale of the Dutch girl, Anne Frank, even though we now know most of her story is fiction, created by a Jewish filmmaker, Meyer Levin, as World War II propaganda. Americans know very little about China, but we are constantly told about the Jews. We see them on TV shows and movies, and we share a common Bible with them.
Yep.
And since World War II, we've even been talking more and more about Judeo-Christianity until Christianity becomes little more than Christianized Judaism. No one talks about the Chinese Confucian centers except to suspect they are filled with slant-eyed spies.
So you called them
slant-eyed
slant-eyed
spies.
spies.
The lies continue to be published about the Chinese treatment of the Uyghurs and the other 50-plus ethnic minorities who live peacefully in China. The yin-yang symbol is a nice marketing logo, but most Americans believe in blood sacrifice for sin and eternal resurrection, not the Chinese way of striving for harmony between opposing forces or pondering how perseverance brings just rewards. So our Democratic president, he tells us we must honor the Holocaust each and every day. His administration is 75% Jewish, who make up less than 2% of the U.S. population.
He's calling us fascists.
Yes.
At the same time.
We're fascists. Yeah, I know.
We're his. See how that works?
Right.
See what I did there?
Many Republicans are, if they get elected, are eager to pass anti-BDS laws and take away our rights. We're losing our rights, and we're paying higher prices and taxes to keep the Zionist project afloat. Trump pulled out of the Iran deal for these millions of reasons by powerful Republican donors like the late Sheldon Adelson, now his wife Miriam, casinos, the Schwartzman family, Blackstone, the Marcus family, Home Depot, Paul Singer, hedge funds, and the Gap and Oakland A's Fisher family.
It's a big club, and you ain't in it.
No, we're not in it.
The Democrats have even more Zionist oligarch contributors in their many-room mansion. When it comes down to it, the Uniparty is all in on Zionism and reverence for the saintly, downtrodden Jewish people who never did anything wrong. They just offered low-income loans to the peasants. And this is the thanks they got. That's the thanks they got.
That's not right.
And their bags of money and organized propaganda machine, the Hasbara.
Shut up and take my money.
So the Chinese have a long way to go to match the powerful sacred cow of the Jewish tribe. Until the Chinese have a strong sacred cow, the Chinese strong horse cannot outrace the strong horse of the Jews.
Wow, that's quite succinct.
Yes.
You know the thing.
I think we do.
Yeah.
And I think our listening audience knows the thing as well. That's why they're tuned in. Yeah.
How many times have we heard white privilege when you get right down to it is primarily Jewish privilege?
Disproportionately.
I think the blacks might be starting to catch on to that.
Did you see where the judge in the Mar-a-Lago raid has unsealed more of the document for us?
This is the lady judge, not the original judge.
Well, this goes back to Reinhardt. Reinhardt has now unsealed more of the detail that was that was not available in the original release. So I don't know what they get out of that, because there's really nothing there. He can declassify anything he wants. This is a document raid, is what this is.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Are they going for obstruction of justice?
I think they have to, don't they? I mean, they have to pursue an indictment on Trump. I mean, this is effectively part of their Brennan strategy.
Right.
You know, they knew that the document in 2017 was phony.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
they know that.
They knew the whole thing was phony, and yet
the Biden laptop was legitimate.
And yet they hired Danchenko 2 months later. They had to have him put out of the mix so that he couldn't talk about it. You know, that was the purpose of hiring him, was so that he couldn't discuss the case. Yeah. I mean, these people are clever, diabolically.
They're diabolical.
And what you don't want to do is leave us, because immediately following our show is Eddie Floyd's America Matters. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you